Kia ora, bros and girls, and welcome back to the channel. We're up to week 2 of Nick's Fury Recon initiative. And spoiler alert, I've actually been playing around with this a little bit, pre-recording this one. Yeah, you can see my battery is pretty low, and I've tried a few different teams. So yeah, hopefully this is gonna be the one. The Mister Sinister boss on this one, he is the boss, is really he's tough, man. And I've been trying to find decent counters. I'm gonna go through this line like you guys don't care about the line. I'm just doing it just as we go. But I'm going to be talking about the boss. So Mister Sinister, as you know, his SP1 is pretty easy to evade, but the problem with this SP1 is whether you evade it or not, he will mirror any debuffs you have on him. So the really great guys like Archangel, who shuts down healing and does neurotoxin with the bleeds, or Wolverine, once you get him to that SP1, he just sends it back. So it's been really hard. I haven't been able to get a decent enough region with Wolverine. Actually, Sabretooth would be quite cool. Well, no, he does bleed as well, so he'll probably be in the same boat. So yeah, there's only really like a few counters for him that you can pick in this particular quest. And I think the best counter I've seen so far to him is Magneto. I've had a really good run with a 5-star rank 2 Magneto, where I was able to just kind of carry on and probably shave around 40-50% of his life, just circulating through that heal block, right? But then I lapsed concentration and lost, and I didn't want to revive, so I kind of came out of that quest. So Magneto's pretty good. I think I have him in this team. Domino would be good too. Like if you have a high level Domino, then it doesn't really matter, because he's not going to be bleeding long enough for it to matter whether he SP1s and throws the bleeds back on you. And I found varying success with Ice, and varying success with Archangel, actually, because I tried Archangel, and Archangel is quite dependent on the RNG, obviously, so you can get neurotoxin straight away. But also, you kind of have to... My one is only 4-star rank 4, so he's very light. So if he gets hit, he's gone. But also, you have to be quite careful, because you kind of... You want to have bleeds and neurotoxin on him, and at the same time, and you want to stack as many as you can, but at the same time, you don't want him to get to his SP1. Because as soon as he does that, he purifies himself. So it's like this really weird balance. And I've been able to get him down, I think, again, like 30-40% with my rank 4-star Archangel, just through really good neurotoxin straight up. But then I'm trying my best not to put any more bleeds on him. And the problem is, then he will turn around and throw the SP1, and then that's it. You're immediately dead. So if you have a high level Archangel, this might not be a problem. Like if you have a 5-star rank 4 or 565, then and they're duped, then yeah, you know what, you might be able to shave off a good 50% of him before he even says hello, right? But yeah, and the other problem is, if you try to push him to his SP2, his SP2 is a little bit more difficult to evade than his SP1. So yeah, that can be quite dangerous as well. So I'm just using Iceman here for most of these fights. I'm just trying to get through the line and try to get to Mister Sinister and see if I can work out a system, man. See if I can figure this guy out. Because the last quest was really easy. I had Star-Lord, and I could just come in and I could just keep punching Ultron until eventually he falls over and dies. This one has proven to be a little bit more difficult than the last quest. But we're going to figure it out, right? We're going to figure it out. There's kind of multiple counters to to Mister Sinister or Mister Sinister. So the first thing is you want someone who can kind of heal block him, right? Because he regens so much, and if you can keep that heal block on, then you can just keep dealing damage, and he just becomes kind of like a normal champ, because he doesn't have a lot of life. It's just the fact that he regens 70% back of a lot of the damage that you do, so it takes a long time. You also want someone who doesn't really rely on debuffs, because as soon as you start relying on debuffs, those debuffs will turn around to hurt you. And that's the main problem I've been having with this guy. So you can see he outlasts, his SP2 is unblockable. So I'm gonna run in with Magneto. This is gonna be the first attempt, and hopefully here we'll have a little bit of a good run. I don't know if I can one-shot him with Magneto, but I damn sure will try. So the good thing about Magneto is he doesn't rely on debuffs. Don't use the SP1 because it will trigger bleed, and I found out don't use the SP3 as well because it does have a chance to get bleed. And I actually, that's right, that's what happened. So I was circulating through and I was doing really well with Magneto, and then I got pushed to my SP3 and I cast SP3. Unfortunately, I heal blocked him and I also put a bleed on him, and then he turned around, did his SP1, and I just bled out to death. That's how I lost Magneto in my last run. So I'm going to try not to do that this time. So you can't use SP3, you can't use SP1. You have to just try and cycle through SP2, heal blocking, making sure you don't get him to his SP, making sure he doesn't get to his SP2. He stays on his SP1 so you can evade it. And yeah, it's a real tough balance, and it takes a long while unless you have a high level Magneto, which like nobody does. Nobody's got like a 5-star rank 4 Magneto. So yeah, it's just going to be a long, slow fight. I'm just trying to bait it out, trying to heal block, and trying to do as much damage as you can. But as you can see here, we're lasting okay. We're doing well. I don't want that bleed to come back, but it is going to come back. And we've shaved off 35%. And to be honest, this isn't really a very high level Magneto. Like, this guy's rank 2, 5-star rank 2. So he's quite low, but you're still carving into that damage barrier. So maybe if you have like dual Magnetos, you can use them and take a third each, or take him a fair bit down and then come in with a big heavy hitter. My heavy hitter is Iceman, so I'm hoping that I can get as far as I can with Magneto, and then maybe run him down a little bit with Archangel, or then maybe jump in with Iceman. So as you can see here, I've taken off 40, almost half his life with Magneto, not playing really that greatly, just rotating through that SP2 and evading that SP1. So Magneto is a pretty good counter, and I would say one of the best counters of the X-Men against Mister Sinister. Next up, I'm going to run with Iceman, right? Because he's down to 50. I don't want to charge him up anymore. I just want to see if I can get him down. So I'm duped as well, so we start with the Cold Snap, and we've got a bit of damage over time with that Cold Snap, so he doesn't regen that back. Just evade that. Oh, but it comes back, and when it comes back, it kind of hurts. So we'll evade that. No Cold Snap there. And this is okay, actually. This is a good rotation. And, oh, that's interesting. I didn't mean to do that heavy, but that's very interesting, because if he heavy, we destroy the Cold Snaps and he can't really come back at us. Okay, so let's just think about it. Let's try that. So I'll get him there. Oh, it didn't come back. Okay, that's good. And what I want to do is I just want to last through, buddy. Oh, can we do it? No, don't SP1. Yes, all right, we got him. We got him with just enough time. So there you go, Magneto Iceman combo. That does the trick. You want to raise your attack, by the way, for your synergies. You don't want to raise your crit because he regens that back. So you just want to raise your base attack. So I'm gonna, I guess, I'm gonna try to experiment with this Iceman thing where I think we could get around him. I'm gonna try it in this. I'll try it in the second fight. I'll show you how that worked out. We're gonna try to get around it with cold snapping him the first time, and then making sure that we block and heavy so that the cold snaps expire straight away. And what that means is when he does SP1, hopefully we're not gonna take any damage because that cold snap is not gonna come back at us. So we're constantly giving him the cold snap, completely destroying it, and then, baiting out his SP1, and then rinsing and repeating. And that way we could probably maximize our damage and minimize his damage. So this is my second run through. I took around the other path, and I'm going to go through with Magneto again. I'm going to continue going through with rotating through the SP2, and we'll see how much we can get through him. Magneto's a really good counter. He's kind of like, he's kind of there just to soften him up, and then Iceman can come in and finish him off. But we'll see how far we can go with this guy, man. And I didn't start this fight out too well, but I think I recover okay here. So just evading, going through. Notice that I'll never use my SP1. I'll never use my SP3. Just carrying through. SP2, got the heal block, and now that's okay. I can be a little bit more aggressive. Evade, get in, hit, and this is like a really nice circulation. The only downside to this is that Magneto doesn't do a lot of damage, and he's low rank, so this takes some time. So you got to be really patient with this fight. But I mean, even with Star-Lord, to be honest, I had to be quite patient with this fight. It's not one of those ones that's going to finish in 3 minutes. It's probably going to be like a 5, 7, 10-minute fight. And yeah, you just have to be patient. But we're tracking okay. We've taken him down 30% so far. We're not going to last too much longer here, but that's what kind of why I'm throwing the SP1 now, because I just want to do as much damage as I can before I jump in with Iceman. But we're lasting a lot longer than I've expected, to be honest. This is pretty good. We've taken down a third of his life here. On a bad fight, on a bad start, and to be honest, probably like a bad finish with Magneto. And now he's down past the 60% mark. We'll just try to get at his SP1. Yeah, man, this is going much better than I would have thought. If you had decided the fight, you said you gave me a 45% of his life, I would have taken it, man. I really started this fight terribly, but we recovered okay. So now we're going to come in with Iceman. Colossus. Interesting. He doesn't have any... Nah, that's going to take too long. We come back with Iceman. And what we're going to do here is we're going to try that little tip or strategy. So with Iceman, what we're going to do is just detonate that frost armor or that cold snap, and then we're going to wait. We're going to let him SP1 us. We're going to throw SP1, and before we get him to his SP1, we're going to heavy and detonate. Now when he does it, look at that, we don't get, we get 1 damage, but you don't get the full cold snap damage, right? And we're just going to rinse and repeat that. We're heading to him. Okay. Going to parry. That's okay. It's already expired, so that's fine. We're tracking well. Cold snap at him again. Before he goes to his SP1, we're going to try to parry here. We're going to try to detonate that with a heavy. Boom, done. And that's a little bit more of a systematic way. Definitely Magneto and Iceman would be my go-to for this quest. Domino, you would think, is really useful, and if she's high level, she might do enough damage as is. But there's certain there's certain synergies you can't bring. You can't bring Red Hulk, so you can't do the incinerate damage. Um, and also, if you bleed, you just have to be quite careful because he can throw that back in your face. So that's how we tackle the second quest, week 2 of Recon's initiative, the Uncanny X-Men. If this helped you out, like, subscribe, leave a comment. We'll be back next week with week 3 and strategies on how to beat that and what the best champs are. Ka kite anō, bros and girls.